Oaks and some of the state's best leisure spots, but it's also no stranger to dangerous severe weather. Meteorologist Aaron Brackett explains why one Bryan County city wants to give its citizens more than just sirens when seconds count.
Good night, good meeting. I got something on my mind this afternoon, so I'm sorry. Okay, we will now start with the I don't know what I'm saying. I might have to start a minute. I got a lot of stuff here I got to do, so I got to figure out which it is. Okay, we will now call to order the January 10th team here. So the roll call could be please approved. I don't know what's wrong with it. Yes, I do. In fact, where are you at? Okay. Thank you very much. You want to come up and do the invocation for us, and then Humphrey, would you afterwards do the flag salute? Everyone stand, please.
Father, we come before you today with the leaders of our city and our great area that we have here. Father, we want to give you praise and give you honor in all that we do. We want to lay your hands on these leaders and help them to do the best that we can do for our area and our community. We ask these things in your precious name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. We'll call the roll call now.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Morris.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Here.
Mayor Groby.
Oh, here. Sorry. Okay, the citizens' comments. We will, I believe. I guess we'll do that first. All right, let's go down and give our often these guys at Lee. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. Anyway, let's all head down. I'll get it together. I got too many things that I'm supposed to do here.
Hey, Steve. We're going to take a brief recess. We'll be right back, y'all.
Okay, with a combination of 25 years of dedicated service to the city of Durant, we have, with 5 years of service, and I don't believe they're here, Stephanie Barfield, utility building. She gets a $50 certificate and a lapel pin. And Mark Pierce with the Parks Department. He's here. He gets $50 certificate and lapel pin. Come on up, Mark. I lost a good plumber when you went to work for the city. All right, with 15 years of service, Drew Hell with the police department. Yeah, Mark, come on, get your picture up here. Let's back up a bit there. Okay. Thank you again. Again, with 15 years of service, Drew Hell with the police department. He gets $150, a certificate, and that lapel pin. I don't think Drew is here, is he? Okay. He'll get his stuff anyway. Okay? All right.
I want to take a quick moment, let you guys in. Mayor Gruby is feeling ill. She's doing fine, and the guys are looking at her. She's going to go on home and miss the rest of the meeting, so pray for her, and we think she's doing okay, and she'll be back tomorrow, probably, knowing her, but that's the situation.
Okay, do we have any citizens' comments? Well, I think we have, looks like we have 4.
That's not, we don't know if that's where we belong or not.
Yeah, take a vote to, because we found ourselves on the agenda.
Mr. Vice Mayor, if those are on agenda items, typically citizen comments are on non-agenda items, so.
Right, so you can take us off.
Okay, so there may be some on there that are on agenda items.
Could you provide him your names, please?
Heather
You're-
Dobbins.
Okay. I believe the first 2 are not agenda items. We have a Rocky, I'm sorry, I can't read your last name. Rocky? McDaniel. Okay, McDaniel, okay. Rocky, come on up.
Hello, I'll keep this brief. My name's Rocky McDaniel. I won't keep you long. I know there's more pressing issues at this moment here. I've been with the city here in retirement years. I've given a lot of life and time to this. There's been a complaint that's been issued to the police department in reference to one of their employees. I don't feel that it's being addressed in a manner that it should. It's being told that the police department does not feel like the complaint is a threatening issue to the citizens of the city. I feel that it is. I won't go into that. You can ask for the complaint itself. I think that there's great issues into the city policy of the police department. There is no entitlement or deadline to when something has to be met. It's been shown if it takes a day or a year, it's all the same. It's been a month and a half, 2-month issue. I am personal friends with the acting chief, and as great a guy as I think that he is, I can't agree with him, and that's why I'm here now. So I would ask that the city look into it themselves and maybe a revisement of what the city policy is to maybe get something done. It was formatted in a complaint in video form and timeline, paragraph by paragraph, within the lies and the fabrication into the reports that was made. That alone, it was an hour and 8-minute video, and within that, I would say that it would take about 25 to 35 minutes of watching this to make a determination of, yes, we have a problem, and yes, we need to send this gentleman home until it's resolved. That's not the case. Now there's multiple complaints and victims, and I'm at your mercy here of saying, as a civilian, the city's not safe. It's uncontrolled, and I would ask for it to be looked into. I'm not asking for anything other than the complainant being looked into to the point of where he's not making more victims. It's only going to cost the city more money in the end. Mr. Markham is the one that handles all of that. I would hope that he's all ears, but I would ask for it to be looked at. I don't need 3 minutes. I just ask for it to be maybe looked into and maybe revised, because it's not fitting for me. And if it's not fitting for me, it's not fitting for any other civilian in the city. And I feel like you will know soon enough. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. McDaniel. We have Adrian Gregory. Please come up.
Hi, good evening. So my family members became aware of a notice of closure and vacation of street. And so because we're coming a little late to this, we wanted to hopefully to receive some confirmation and clarification tonight about will a specific address be affected? And if so, what happens to the home or property owner if that home is a part of the vacation and closure? Do I need to give the address? We received a letter from Danielle O'Neill, the Community Development Director. It was dated November 8th, so it's in regard to that.
Okay. Can we give any comment?
Typically, we don't comment. That's something you'd probably just have to reach out to Ms. O'Neill or the staff at Community Development. They can give you that information probably better than anyone up here.
Okay.
But if there is a street that's closed or vacated, it would take place as an agenda item on the council agenda.
Do you foresee that being a part of the agenda at some point?
There are from time to time. I'm not sure exactly what issue you're referring to, but typically you would receive a letter and then it would be on the future agenda. So it may be on. I'd keep an eye out for it, and it'll be on typically a regular agenda. So keep an eye out for the February agenda.
February. Okay.
But I would refer to community development with those questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next order of business is consent items, and if there are any council people who wish to discuss or remove any of these items, now's the time to do it.
I'd like to pull item F for discussion.
Item F. And I would like to pull item G. Okay. Steve, F comes before G.
To vote on A. Say that again? Vote on A through D.
Oh, okay. We pulled item F and G. We will now vote on the other items on consent.
I move we approve consent items A through E.
Okay, we have a motion to approve items A through E. Do we have a second?
Second.
Cindy?
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. All right, that leaves first item F.
I'd like to grab Fire Chief Jeff Langford to discuss this item right quick.
How are y'all this evening?
Good.
So what we got here this time in the fire service, things have kind of changed here drastically in the last few years with active shooters and those type of events. So I don't know if anybody's aware, we did have a active shooter hoax last month at the Durant High School. So after that, Mr. Brent Gordon, speaking with his brother over that, which is a battalion chief with our department, and realized we didn't have any ballistic vests at that time. So, and we need some for those type of events. So, Mr. Gordon offered to purchase them and donate them to the fire department. So, we're here tonight to pay our respects and thanks for that event. So, Brent, if you would come up. We got 11 of these ballistic vests for each member that is currently would be on the ship for that. So we got a little plaque for you. It's presented at the Gordon Funeral Home for support and donation of 11 ballistic vests to the Durant Fire Department. We appreciate your business support to our safety of our members and with this generous donation. On behalf of the Durant Fire Department, our members, and our members' families, I'd like to say thank you.
I think you said we had a staff member. That's where we're at. Okay, that's good. Okay. J? Okay, the one, okay. All right.
Mr. Vice Mayor, we'll need a motion to approve 2F.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 2F and thank Gordon Funeral Home for their generous donation. And typically we would have made the motion and to give you the presentation, but I doubted very seriously it would have failed in the motion. So,
and I'll
thank
second
you.
it.
Okay, Cindy?
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. Okay, that's approved.
Thank you, Brent. We appreciate it.
Brings item J. I would like some discussion on the extension agreement for Oki Safety Consulting. Okay.
So this is This is a contract that's been in place for a few months, and it was put in place in the absence of a fire marshal and building inspector. So
Yes.
I've asked Mark to come up and explain the ask.
As you know, we have a new fire marshal and a new building inspector. I feel it'd be in the best interest of the city to extend this for another 6 months to give those guys a little bit more interaction with this consulting firm.
When these were hired, was that part of the job description, that they be qualified to do these inspections?
Yes, on the fire department side, on the fire marshal side.
That they were supposed to be qualified to do these inspections?
qualified to do
They are qualified to do them?
Yes,
They're qualified now to do them?
yes, they are.
Okay.
But I still feel that with a new fire marshal, it would be in his best interest to get a little bit more experience from these guys.
I tend to think on-the-job training is pretty good experience.
Can't argue with that, but still, you need a little guidance, I think.
Well, they
Especially
were.
when you're talking about life safety.
Were they certified to do these inspections when they were hired for the job?
That I can't speak for, I don't know.
No, I believe there's certain certifications they still need to gain. So,
Are they currently in training to get these certifications?
yes, they're
Yes,
working.
sir.
They're working toward the testing. So, and the on-the-job training will help them as well.
Is there a date that they will be certified?
I'd have to get with them and ask them what the date is. We've got HR in the audience. I'm gonna assume, Carrie, you probably don't have that date with you.
I don't have that.
Okay.
Is it anticipated to be probably within the next 6 months?
Yes.
Yes. This contract just extends, the request is to extend it to June of this year. And I'll remind everyone that we have a whole lot of growth going on right now, a lot of new buildings being erected, and so this is an extra little help as well. So.
And you have one building official and one fire marshal doing all the inspections.
Right.
So this would give them a little bit more experience, a little bit of help.
How much have we paid this company? When did this company start?
This company, I believe, started July, August?
No. I want to say September, October?
Of this year?
Of this year. Fire marshal retired in July, I believe.
So it started in July.
June or July. It was after that.
Yes.
So August, September, somewhere along in there.
So we hired this company because we had no one on staff
Yes.
to do this.
We had no fire marshal.
But we have hired,
We have a fire marshal.
we have fire marshal who is, in the job description, they are to do these inspections.
Yes.
Okay.
But he's not certified to do those inspections yet by the state.
But that was in the job description when we hired him, was it?
I can't speak for that.
I mean, it looks to me like the city's paying two people to do one job.
To be a fire marshal, I don't think you can just hire someone off the street. I think they have to have some training, and they get that training by doing the job.
On the job training.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he might need a little assistance also.
Does anybody have any idea how much we've spent with this contracting company?
I'm trying to look that up right now, but I will tell you that the contract was signed. I'm trying to find the date on here. John Dean signed the contract, so I know it was before August. July the 10th.
And that was for the building inspector and the fire marshal, or just the fire marshal?
Just fire marshal.
But they're not also doing building inspector stuff also as well?
Well, they can, they're not, but we have an inspector now.
The first contract was signed 6 months ago. So it'd be an additional, I guess the ask is an additional 6 months. I just asked Jeff.
Right, I'm looking at the contract. It was signed July the 10th, 2022.
Yep. And as far as how much is spent, I've been helping with the POs. I'd have to go back and look and see what total has been spent on that. I don't have it in front of me, but I have it in my office.
And when was the fire marshal hired? The hire date?
November.
When was Brandon hired, Jeff? August?
Nope, September the 15th, 2022.
Okay.
Do you have to be certified to sign off on these inspections?
Go ahead, come on up, Jeff.
If you don't mind, I'd like to speak just a little bit over that. So there are multiple classes. As far as being authorized or certified, no. Actually, the fire chief can sign off on that as the fire code official, so to speak. But I haven't received that training, and currently Brandon has not either. He has signed up and taken any and all the courses that he can within the time frame. So that contract and those contract fees, the more classes Brandon takes, then the fewer times we'll have to use that contract fire marshal. So I know Brandon has started to do some of the basic inspections. I know he's been helping with the inspection department, and he's learning a lot on the go, but I think we need that backup just for those tougher projects. So I think it's in the best interest of the city at that time for that.
Are you confident they'll be finished and having all the training and testing done by June 30th?
I'm not 100% confident because he did not get into the National Fire Academy's plan review class, which we were trying to get him into. And those classes are few and far between, and that's one of the bigger deals, but that's also something that the private company pays for that. So that technically doesn't come out of our pocket. So only the follow-up inspections and things like that, and Brandon is enrolled in those type of classes. So we should see a decrease in the amount of money that's being spent for the contract fire marshal.
Can the guy from Oki Consulting legally sign off on
Yes,
things like
he is
that?
certified in all those aspects, yes.
Are they doing anything to help Brandon?
So,
Are they taking Brandon along? Or are they
Yes.
trying to educate him some?
They come down once a week and they take Brandon on all the inspections, and he gets to ask questions. Brandon calls and emails anytime he has a question, and that guy answers those questions. He's actually been up to Midwest City and followed that guy around on multiple occasions, learning from him on building inspections as part, and no charge for those. He just lets him come up and shadow him on other projects. So.
How long has Brandon been with the fire department?
Do what?
How long has Brandon been with our fire
A
department?
little over 10 years, I believe is what, I have to go back and look at the records, but right at 10 years, or just slightly over.
Okay.
Since July 23rd, 2012.
Okay. He's trying to get into all the classes he can. It's just they're few and far between for that type of training. So.
Is that locally or any?
Most of it is. He's the first one he went to was at Stillwater for OSU Fire Service training, and some of them are out of state. I know they had one in Mississippi here a while back, but it was at the same time he was in another class. So he's going to have to go out of state for some of those training. It's the Oklahoma State Fire Marshals Association has been trying to get some of that locally, but they're having a hard time getting instructors for that type of classes.
Are we working on getting anyone else up to speed in case Brandon goes south?
So there you go again. That's we're sending some other guys to fire inspections to be able to do help with inspections on arson investigation stuff. I myself have been already enrolled in a Fire Inspector 1 class. I feel as chief I need to be more up to speed on what he's doing on his job side of things. So I've enrolled in a Fire Inspector 1 class as well, and going to try to seek out some of the others. But to send some of our firemen, that's a lot of money for training that they may or may never use. It kind of takes a special person to want to be a fire marshal. So.
I think education is very important, and I think we're better off spending our money to educate our own people than we are spending money to someone outside
To contract, okay?
our staff.
We can certainly look in that direction as well then. Make sure this doesn't happen again, so I know Mr. Boyd retiring kind of caught us off guard there, so we need to do better, prepare for having multiple people with that same type of training.
It's good to have a plan B and a plan C,
Yeah, you're right.
and sometimes plan D and E.
Yes, sir.
Chief, I had a quick question for you. Is there any liability issues if he doesn't have certain certifications for some of the stuff he's signing off on?
So with his fire inspector one, that should cover him for the things that he is signing off on
Right now?
right now, yes. Under the umbrella of the fire department and authority of the fire marshal, as long as he's got that training to understand the codes that he is reading and signing off on, we should be fine there. It's some of the bigger stuff, the larger projects, that's why we refer back to that guy that is licensed and has all the training. I think it's a liability issue for the city, for me or him to even sign off on some things that we're not trained to do so.
And those projects are currently ongoing?
Some of them are commercial jobs, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further?
I'll make the motion that we approve the plan services between City of Durant and OK Safety Consulting through June 30th, 2023. But I want us to have our people certified by that date.
I'll second.
Councilmember Brittingham,
Aye.
Councilmember Miller,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. All right. Number 3, information items. Any discussion? Information items? All right. If there's no discussion on the information items, that brings us to number 4, administration. Number A, ordinance 0-22-0-2022-30. Rezoning request from A1 General Agricultural to C2 Highway Commercial and Commercial Recreation for property near Southeast 3rd Avenue and Rodeo Road. It's PC 2023-01. Danielle?
Good evening. This is a request you guys have seen before a couple of months ago where the applicant was asking for several different things. This one, in this particular one, he is just asking for the rezoning of a commercial piece. This is going to be a 6-acre tract that is right on the corner of Southeast 3rd and Rodeo Road. We'll have the map right up there. That's the final plat one. It'll be the one before that, Byron. As I said, it's about a 6-acre tract of land. The entire area is zoned as agriculture. However, the future land use map does have this area as commercial. And when we mailed out the letters, we did not have any come back to us, but at the Planning Commission meeting, there was a couple residents that did speak in protest against the item, with the concern mainly about the traffic safety at the corner of Southeast 3rd and Rodeo Road, as well as the concerns of spot zoning. As mentioned, the future land use map does have this area as commercial uses, therefore it is in line with the future land use map. The Planning Commission and staff do recommend approval of this item. The biggest reason was we did mention the spot zoning. The reason we decided it was not spot zoning was because it is in line with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map, and because of that, it would not be considered spot zoning. So I hope that answers that question for you. But if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. We also have the Planning Commission chairman. If you have any questions for Planning Commission as well, and the applicants here, if you have questions for them.
Okay. And I believe we have two people here that wish to speak about this issue. Is now the time for them to come forward? Okay.
Yes, my name is Sandra Levins. I live across the road from where this would be taking place. My question is, y'all didn't do a motion in October, so why should you redo it now? If you didn't see any reason to approve it then, they haven't done anything different to get it approved. The traffic problem would be, well, y'all all know that's a dangerous corner to start off with. So the traffic problem would be just awful out there. I think we've had something like 14 fatalities since '85 on that corner. It certainly hasn't gotten any better. Now, the gentleman did mention that the state of Oklahoma would be putting in a turn lane there, but I think we all realize that the state of Oklahoma could take 50 years to get that done, and it's just a dangerous corner. And to have something like a filling station there, gas, whatever, would increase the traffic, and I'm afraid would increase the fatalities there also. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Lewins. Heather, you're up.
Heather Dobbins. I live across the highway from where this will be. Like she said, since 1984, there have been 11 fatalities there. The foot traffic has increased dramatically on Rodeo Road from Choctaw, and there's also a wrecking yard down the road from me. And I've had people knock on my door at 2 o'clock in the morning screaming, I can't see, I need help. They're constantly breaking down in my driveway, and I just feel like it's going to be worse. If we have this here, then they'll just be able to just come right across to me. Saturday, I was moving a mule over, and my dog was catching something, and I looked down, and it was a meth pipe in my pasture, 200 to 300 yards from where I am. I've lived here for 47 years, and I'm afraid this is what's going to happen. They're just going to keep coming on me. I never thought I would ever think about living anywhere else, but if this happens, I got to go. I can't deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. It's my understanding this was brought to the Planning Commission. This will be the second time. Danielle?
Yes, that's correct. Both times the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the item on both occasions, as memory serves. And I believe the applicant did have a couple things he wanted to show you if you guys had a moment here in a minute. But yes, this is the second time that it did make it through Planning Commission and City Council.
Was it unanimous both times?
As memory serves, yes.
Okay.
Is that correct, Drew? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Typically with Planning Commission, they've been unanimous votes recently, so as memory serves, yes.
This may be, nobody can answer this maybe, but I'm going to ask Mr. Clark, those fatality accidents that happened there, were those caused mostly by people running the stop sign on Rodeo Road?
I'd have to look at the data on that. More than likely, it would be probably
has increased since 1984 to 65. And it's right before, 65 starts right before you get to Rodeo Road from the north. And people are coming up that hill trying to get to that 65 before they get there.
I'm well familiar with that intersection. I go through it. And I don't know if those accidents have happened more in the nighttime or in the daytime, but
It's been all the time. I've sat out there and watched many of them. I've been outside on that highway helping people that weren't fatality accidents, but I couldn't tell you how many times.
So staff did ask PD to pull the traffic records for the accidents for that. Now this is just the city. And this was pulled back in September when we first heard the item. And the fatality wrecks that was recorded at the intersection was 2. And both in 15 and 16, looks like probably a lot of the accidents were failure to yield, or there's a couple speeding, and a couple inattention to what it says. So my guess is probably cell phones or radio or something like that. But that's what the data that the police department shared with me, and the data's from 15 to 22.
okay.
So
Danielle, the future land use map does show that to be commercial from the bypass, if I'm not mistaken, all the way south to that intersection
Byron
on
can
the
pull
west
that
side
up.
of the road.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. It's not, yes, from the bypass down, yes, I believe that's correct. Could you go to the next map?
I don't think north was industrial.
Yes, yep, from the bypass down to city limits, yes. Yep. I was thinking it was, but I wanted to confirm, yes.
When we did not approve this the last time, did not the owner say he was going to build homes on that property instead?
Part of it will be. So the tract that we're talking about now is a commercial piece, but that's not going to have homes on it. That'll have some sort of commercial enterprise on it. One of the prospects that he's looking at, he wanted to get this approved before he put it out there to potentially sell the property or lease the property or anything like that. Was one of the prospects he talked to staff about was potentially like a gas station or a convenience store or something like that, is something that he talked to staff about doing. But the homes that were for the R1 piece that was approved, the zoning piece of it is the part that faces on Rodeo Road, that is to the west of this commercial piece. Hey, Byron, can you bring up the next? It's the previous case. This is for the final plat. It'll be the one before this, that set of maps. All right, I put on the, yeah. Here we go. Oh, did I put the wrong maps up there? Okay, I apologize. We have some, might go to the next one, maybe I'll switch the maps. That's possible. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize that we...
So, can you tell me if the entrance to the commercial part is on Rodeo Road or on Highway 4878?
You can make it either way, honestly, because the plat shows three lots, 2 acres apiece that face Southeast 3rd. So that 1 2-acre tract that's on right on the corner of Southeast 3rd and Rodeo Road, that they could potentially have an entrance either way. Now that would depend upon the fire marshal and building review of whether or not how close to the intersection that entrance could be. But the other 2 would have to be off of Southeast 3rd.
I'm going to back you up just a second. You said the fire marshal or who would make that determination?
Building inspector, they look at building code.
So the property owner would not have the authority to do that. They would dictate where an entrance or an exit would be in proximity to that intersection.
Correct. They typically propose it saying we're going to have it here, and then the building inspector and fire marshal will look at it and say, that's too close to the intersection, or whatever the case is. But they do look at that for traffic safety and all that too.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe we should hear from Mr. Coney.
Yeah.
Come on up, Mr. Corey.
did you have another question?
No, not
No,
right
okay,
now.
sorry.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. Yes, I didn't change anything from the last time I requested this. And I want to say that the reason that we purchased this property, it's because the future zoning map, it's shown it as a commercial property. And that was published to the public, to everyone to look at. And it was there for years now. This is not something just changed recently. So the city of Durant wants this land to be commercial, and by this request, I'm basically fulfilling the city wish to have it as a commercial land. Now, I understand the neighbors' concern about the speed, which is 65 miles per hour. But I wonder why no one from that area contacted the city of Durant or ODOT to request to reduce the speed all this time. So I took immediate action and I contacted ODOT and I asked them about the project and if we can reduce the speed limit. And they said the project is going to start the summer of this year, and I have email. I do have attachment if you like to look at. They have it on the screen. If we can pull attachment B, please. Yes, attachment B.
For clarification, the project you're referring to is the widening of the highway,
Highway 78.
not the speed limit.
Yes.
Okay.
But the email is for both. I asked both questions. Yes, attachment B.
Lisa,
okay.
I've got a question for you, Lisa. Who would determine the speed limit on that? Is it ODOT that would determine the speed limit? Okay, so we have nothing to do with the speed limit on that road, or?
It's a state
Let's go to C.
It's a state highway, it's a state highway.
Okay.
But we have worked with ODOT in the past to get approval to change the limits
Gotcha.
after they do engineering studies.
So that's the letter I sent to ODOT Division 2, to Ashley Hawkins and Jeremy Mock. And basically I was asking him the question I just let you know. Can we go to number D, please? Number D is the response that I got from them, which basically they said they're going to start in the summer. For the speed limit, they say they didn't seem to mind reducing the speed limit at all. They said this just have to come from the city of Durant directly. And I will be working on that until I get it done. I told them we want to reduce it to 55 or 45.
Did I not see a for sale sign for 25 acres at that spot?
No, that's not mine. I'm not going to sell my land.
The property?
Yeah, I'm keeping my entire land.
Right there on the corner. I saw it this morning.
Rodeo Road, and that's not
25 acres on the southeast, on the north.
Oh, I'll go check it out. Let me go buy it before someone else do.
Been there quite a while.
Okay.
There's another one down on Cemetery Road, same people.
Okay.
Is that yours?
No, that's not mine. No. I want to just add something. If we can go back to attachment B right now. So this is a traffic report from ODOT. So on the Highway 78, there's 4,000 car daily drive on that highway. And the Rodeo Road, we have 750 car. That was in 2019. So we're talking about 4,750 cars a day. Who want to put a house on a highway like that? And then this makes just a perfect commercial spot for any business. And if 10% of those stopped at the gas station or store to make business, we're talking about 2.6 million approximate sales every year, which will produce 114,000 in taxes for the city. This is just for sale taxes. That will be helping the city to grow. And I will be providing a lot of job opportunities. At least I would say I need 8 people to work. This is just the first business. We're not talking about what's coming in the future. We'll talk about it then. But I would love for you to approve my application, and let me know if you have any more questions.
I have a question. Are you planning on building and operating
Yes,
this
sir.
store? Or
Yes, sir.
Are you talking about leasing it out?
No, that's gonna be all ours. We're gonna build it, we're gonna operate it, even the residential lot, nothing gonna be for sale. This is all ours. Yes. Because
have
there is a lot of big projects around the area, and I'm not gonna sell this land right
Do you
now.
have any prior experience in operating?
Yes, I used to run gas station for 2 years when I first came to America. Yes.
Okay.
I was the manager, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
I notice on 4A, it says that it's an emergency clause. What is the emergency?
It's a good question.
Mr. City Attorney, do you care to address?
So there is by ordinance and statute, anytime an ordinance is voted on without an emergency clause, it has an effective date 30 days following the adoption of the emergency. If there is a desired effective date other than 30 days following the passage of the ordinance, there has to be either a specific date put in there, so the council could adopt an ordinance with a section 2 that says it has an effective date and name a date. Or if the council wants the ordinance to go into effect immediately, then there has to be a declaration of an emergency. The emergency doesn't have to be narrowly identified necessarily. The council just has to declare that there is for the preservation of the peace, the health, the safety of the citizens of Durant, or otherwise that it be necessary for the ordinance to become effective in less than 30 days. There has to be an emergency declared, and then there has to be a separate vote on that emergency that has at least 75% of the voting members of the council approval. So it is virtually unheard of that an emergency is identified in that it is an emergency, other than occasions where there has to be a contract entered into or some sort of provision that actually is an emergency. An emergency is a way to cause the ordinance to go into effect immediately rather than in 30 days. In this case, I'm not sure that it matters. So this ordinance could be passed today without a section 2, and it would go into effect 30 days from today by default. Or the council could pass it today and have an emergency clause approved, and it's rezoned immediately and could be used in that manner tomorrow.
So we kind of dilute the meaning of an emergency anytime we put an emergency on here and there's not really an emergency.
That's certainly one way to read it. An emergency is just the way to cause an ordinance to become effective in less than that 30 days that is set forth by statute.
I would assume why it's put on the agenda is probably to give us the option for an emergency.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if section 1 was moved and approved and section 2 failed to get the required 4 votes in this body, it takes 4 votes to approve the emergency clause. If the section 2 failed to get the required 4 votes, then the ordinance would become effective in 30 days by default.
So it's not really an emergency. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any motions on this?
I make a motion to approve item 4A, ordinance O 2022-30, a rezoning request for A1 General Ag to C2 Highway Commercial for the property near Southeast 3rd and Rodeo Road, Section 1.
We have the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Cindy?
Okay. Councilmember Brittingham,
Aye.
Councilmember Miller,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. It's been approved.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and make a motion to approve Section 2, the emergency clause.
I'll second.
Cindy?
Councilmember Brittingham,
Aye.
Councilmember Miller,
Aye.
Councilmember Morris,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
No. All right. Item B,
The emergency fails on that.
the emergency failed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Discussion, consideration, and possible action on a final plat request for property near Southeast 3rd Avenue and Rodeo Road. PC 2023-01.
So this goes along with the rezoning application that we heard earlier, and since the rezoning was approved, then we can proceed with the final plat. The plat does show 9 total lots. 3 of the lots are the 2 acres that we went through of the commercial lots. 5 of them are the 1 acre tracts that are expected to be single family lots, and then the remaining 7 acres is expected to be an ag, and as ag as a buffer to the rest of the area. There is city water available in the area, but there is not city sewer. They'll have to go through and get either septic or aerobic systems, which will be approved by DEQ, which is Department of Environmental Quality. The Planning Commission and staff do recommend approval of this. Staff did sign off supporting of the final plat and did not have any issues. And we'll go through the whole process of the plans and et cetera is what's needed. And obviously the commercial piece will have to wait for the 30 days until that comes into effect, which will probably affect the plat as well. Is that correct, Tom?
Say that again.
With the commercial rezoning not taking place for 30 days, that will affect the plat too. Is that correct? With the plat having the zoning on it?
The plat would not be effective as to the zoning portion for
Okay.
30 days.
Okay.
Tom, we had 75% yes with the absence of the mayor for the emergency.
Give me just a minute. Let me confirm that that's 75% of the quorum present or 75% of the membership.
Anyways, so there we go. Then we'll look at that. But anyways, that's kind of where the
plat
final
we're
plat.
talking about now?
I'm sorry.
Is this the plat we're talking about now?
Yes,
Where-
Byron,
where the
we have the plat on there too, if you can get, it should be towards the end. I apologize, we had a bunch of maps that I got them a little mixed up, I apologize for that. There's the commercial maps I was looking for earlier. It should be almost to the very end of it, it should be one of the last documents. There you go.
Councilman Morris, Title 11, Section 14-103 requires an emergency must be ruled upon separately and approved by the affirmative vote of at least 3/4 of all members of the governing body of the municipality. So in this body, it has to be 4 members have to vote for it regardless of how many are present for quorum.
So will that affect their motion at all? I'm just asking ahead of time while we're discussing and thinking.
I've got a question for Mr. Curry, if he would come up.
Yes.
Is it going to affect you any if this goes 30 days before this plat's
Not
goes through?
at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
So we're just,
Not at all, yeah. Can we vote on it now and then?
Yeah,
Will be
if you're, as long as that 30 days is not
Yes,
gonna
no
affect
problem.
you, that'd be,
No problem.
we could vote on it now, I guess.
Okay, there we go. Problem solved.
Any more discussion? Any motions on this?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the final plat request for the property near Southeast 3rd Avenue and Rodeo Road, PC 2023-01.
Second.
All right. Cindy?
Okay. Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. Item C, discussion, consideration, possible action on ordinance O-2022-31. A rezoning request from A1 General Agriculture and C2 Highway Commercial and Commercial Recreation Districts to C2 Highway Commercial and Commercial Recreation District for property located near West Main and South 49th Avenue. It's PC 2023-03, and that is over by the new Loves, correct?
Yes, that is directly across the street from Brown's Funeral Home, that kind of area. They are looking at, they bought about 29 acres over there, and they have it all on one area, and they're wanting to have it all one zoning type for some commercial ventures in that area. We don't know of anything other than that, and they've already discussed. They said it'll come to us when they're ready for platting and things like that, because that'll be the next piece should they need to go that route. And I've heard they've been in conversation of different things, so it could be pretty exciting of some development going out there. But the future land use map does have this as a mixed use of commercial and residential, so it is in line with that. The Planning Commission and staff does recommend approval of the request. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Planning Commission is here. I did not see the applicants, so I don't believe they're here.
Drew, was the Planning Commission unanimous on this?
Yes, sir.
With approval?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think the commission's rationale is this basically is just adding depth to the existing future land use map and the current zoning. So I think they also had some mixed zoning, so it's actually cleaning some of it up.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
We have a motion.
Make a motion to approve item 4C, the ordinance O-2022-31 rezoning request from A1 to General Ag to C2 Highway Commercial for the property located at West Main and South 49 PC 2023-03, Section 1.
Second?
Second.
Cindy?
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. Brings up Section 2.
I'll make a motion to approve Section 2, the emergency clause.
And I'll second.
Cindy?
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
Emergency fails.
I didn't see an emergency there. Okay. Bring us to executive session. A, consider executive session for confidential communications with attorney pending litigation involving the City of Durant, where a disclosure will impair the ability of the public body to discuss and analyze that litigation. The City of Durant versus Resource One Administrators Incorporated. In the District Court of Tulsa County, case number CV-2020-3710. This executive session is authorized by Title 25, Section 307B4 of the Oklahoma State Statutes. We have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Cindy?
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. Back in session.
Are we ready for a motion, Tom?
Yeah, I think we're in line for a motion or action on 5B.
Okay.
No, we just come back into session.
Okay. All right, we have a motion on 5B.
Resource One has agreed to make a settlement to the city for approximately $600,000 in the lawsuit mentioned here. I make a motion we accept that and authorize the staff to do the proper administrative actions to receive payment.
I'll second.
Okay, we've had a second. Cindy?
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. Brings us to number 6, new business. Do we have any new business? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Cindy?
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye. Okay, the Durant City Utilities Authority meeting.
Just give me just a few seconds here. Are you okay, Brian? Okay.
Okay. I call to order the January 10th, 2023 Durant City Utilities Authority meeting. Roll call.
Trustee Brittingham.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Morris.
Here.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Here.
Chairman Groby is absent.
Okay. Number 1, consent items. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve the consent item.
I'll second.
Cindy?
Trustee Brittingham.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye. All right, and there's no items to remove. Number 3, information items. Any discussion? Anybody have questions, discussion? Okay, that brings us to number 4, administration. No items under number 4. And number 5, new business. No new business, so we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Cindy, would you call?
Trustee Brittingham.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye. Okay. Okay, that brings us to the Durant Airport Authority meeting, January 10th, 2023. We have a roll call.
Trustee Brittingham.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Morris.
Here.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Here. Consent items. Anybody have any discussion? Do you have a motion to approve consent items?
Motion to approve consent items.
Second.
All right. Cindy?
Trustee Brittingham.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye. Brings us to information items, the airport director's monthly report of, would we like to hear I kind of like hearing your report, so.
Good evening, everyone. Just to kind of touch on a few numbers, I know everybody's always talking about the growth of the airport. Some numbers I wanted to bring before you tonight is our fuel numbers between 2021 and 2022 at the end of the year. So for 2021, the airport moved a total of 169,710 gallons of Jet A and 50,542 gallons of 100 low lead. This was actually a separate report versus what was on the actual monthly report due to the fact that I didn't have these numbers at the time. But I got this report straight from Titan. As everybody can see per this report here, when you look at the monthly numbers, you can see that December of 22 was significantly higher than December of 21. We had an increase of 6,183 gallons of Jet A sold in December of 22 versus 21. 219.66 gallons of 100 low lead increase between 2021 and 2022. And our self-serve actually dropped by 1,139.36 gallons. Big reason for that is due to the fact that with a full service at the airport, we wash pilots' windows, gives them a chance to come in, explore the facilities, interact with the staff, kind of get out, stretch their legs. So, and a lot of times pilots don't necessarily like to fuel their own aircraft, especially during inclement weather, extreme cold, stuff like that, high winds. So they rely on our staff to do it. But our fuel sales for the entire year of 2022 was 222,789 gallons of Jet A and 54,071 gallons of 100 low lead. Basically what that breaks down to is for 2021, the airport moved 220,252 gallons of fuel total. And in 2022, we moved 276,800 gallons of fuel in total. So a very significant increase over 2021 to 2022. And hopefully we can just see these numbers continue to climb. I do know one question that does get asked all the time is our VirTower traffic. So for the year of 2021, from April when the VirTower was implemented, we had 35,805 operations. Obviously, we missed a few months, so starting this year, we'll actually get a good yearly report at the end of the year. As of right now, we are currently sitting at 81 operations just for today, as of when I left the airport. We had 1,155 operations so far at the airport for the month of December. And if you added all that together, that would bring us up to 36,946 operations since VirTower was implemented at the airport. Our taxiway lighting program has been completed. All taxiway lights are up and operational, signs are up and operational. Everything's functioning properly. We got 2 HVAC units replaced out there. Those are up and running. And AWOS is still intermittent to a point, but we are seeing less intermittent operations as long as we have warm weather. But we're still working with the AWOS technicians on that situation. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
We have a plan to upgrade our AWOS.
Yes, sir, we do. It's actually, so with the AWOS situation we had due to the lightning strike back in November of last year, we've been looking at some options. We submitted a insurance claim on it. We've been trying to get our AWOS technicians to come down and give us a price breakdown of what it would cost to replace items that were damaged or destroyed due to the lightning strike. As of right now, they're working that, but they came out and replaced a battery unit in it, which has helped to, I guess you could say, breathe some life into it. So we're able to limp along. The project is supposed to go into construction phase, I believe, around summer of this year. We've already got the funds approved for it from FAA. We're just waiting for the start of the grant cycle, which should be about March timeframe. We'll get the planning done on that, and then we'll go into construction phase for a new
This will
ALS
be a
system.
completely new system, right?
Correct, yes, sir. New system relocated and everything else.
You know what the cost is on that?
I believe KSA is estimating approximately $250,000 for it.
But that's a grant.
It is a grant, yes, sir. So I believe city's amount is 10% of that grant, but we've already had that money set aside. It's approximately about $25,000, if I remember correctly, and we have already set aside that funding for it.
We've had some increase in turbine aircraft that are based on the field, haven't we, in the past?
Yes, sir. We are seeing larger jet aircraft come in and out of the airport. We're seeing a lot more of the Challenger series, and we actually had a Gulfstream 650 out there, which is one of the larger forms of the Gulfstream. It's about 100 feet wide by 100 feet long.
That's a sweet plane.
It was very nice to have out there. Definitely looked good on the ramp. But yes, we are actually starting, and we actually worked with NetJets beginning of this week on a letter for them to operate over our current published weights for the airport. What that means is they're talking about possibly bringing in Gulfstream 400s, Gulfstream 500s, and possibly Global 5000s and 6000s, which are significantly larger aircraft, but it also means increased fuel sales as well.
We haven't had, they were doing studies on our runway, right, on weight capacity?
Yes, sir.
We don't have the results from that.
We do, but right now it's with the ADO's office for the FAA. They're conducting their review on those numbers before we can actually publish them to our 5010 and make it public.
Okay.
But right now we're looking approximately about 84,000 pounds dual wheel on the runway and apron area. And that's regular use. That's not the intermittent. Intermittent, we can go a little bit higher, not much, but as long as it's not a regular use.
84,000, that'll put us in what class?
We can get Class C aircraft, which is what your G650s, your Global 5000s fall under and stuff like that. And
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything under administration? New business? All right. Adjournment. Anybody want to go home?
Motion to adjourn.
No, wait, one more?
Second.
Trustee Brittingham.
Aye.
Oh, okay.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye. Wrong. Okay. The Durant Development Authority meeting of the 10 January 2023. I call it to order. We have a roll call. Cindy?
Trustee Brittingham.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Morris.
Here.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Here.
Chairman Groby is absent.
Consent items. The only thing on there, approval of the regular meeting minutes of October 11, 2022.
Motion to approve the consent item.
Second.
Cindy?
Trustee Brittingham.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye. New business. No new business. Now, how about an adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Cindy?
Okay. Trustee Brittingham.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear?
Aye.